Hello everyone and welcome to NFL Discussion. I'm your host and NFL enthusiast Dougie Doug. In today's episode I'm going to be discussing Sunday, week 3 of the 2023 season. And for this slate, the 3 games I picked out were Saints, Packers, Bears, Chiefs, Texans, Jaguars, and Bears, Chiefs, all in order in which the games happened. And with that, we'll go ahead and get right into the action, starting with the New Orleans Saints. So there is a question to be raised coming out of this game, and that is, will the Saints offense be fine if Derek Carr misses time? So for context, in the third quarter of Sunday's game, Packers edge rusher Rashawn Gary sacked Derek Carr, who would walk off the field with an injured shoulder. According to NFL Network's Ian Rappaport, Carr went to the hospital for x-rays and further tests. I think it came back to be an AC joint sprain. So it's not a season-ending injury, but there's currently not a timeline on his return. So Jameis Winston is the backup, and he took over. Went 10-16 passing for 101 yards. After going up 17-0 against Green Bay with Carr under center, New Orleans wasn't able to score Winston in the game. Nonetheless, if Carr does indeed miss time, Winston should fare a lot better with a full week of practice with the first-team offense. Also, he's got running back Alvin Kamara returning from suspension next week as well. So regardless of Carr's status, the Saints offense should be fine without him and should get a boost from Kamara, who's still a quality dual-threat playmaker out of the backfield. Green Bay Packers. I could say to say offensively, this team has yet to hit their stride. I think once they get some key players back on the team, this team should be better on offense. Not that they're bad on offense, but they're just missing some of their best players. Unfortunately, I think they play on a short week this week. They're playing Thursday night, so I don't know if they're gonna get those players in time for that game. And skeptics may still have questions about the Packers after their win over the Saints. However, Green Bay has won 2 of its first 3 games with key players on the sideline. Those players being David Bakhtiari and Aaron Jones, who have missed the last 2 games. Christian Watson hasn't played this season. Yet to play this season. Elton Jenkins didn't play on Sunday because of an injury, and yet for the most part the Packers have been efficient offensively with only 1 turnover, and Jordan Well has continued to play well with 7 touchdowns, or has played well with 7 touchdowns and 1 interception. Houston Texans. CJ Stroud, I think if masterful is a good word to describe his performance in what could be considered an upset victory over the Jaguars. And really, CJ Stroud is playing like he should have been this year's number 1 overall draft pick. And as the 33rd team's Jordan Pund noted, Stroud ranks 3rd all-time in passing yards through 3 starts. He's also thrown the most passes without an interception during that stretch. And during Sunday's victory over the Jaguars, the 2nd overall pick completed 66.7% of his passes for 280 yards and 2 touchdowns. The best part of those numbers in Stroud's overall play is that he's doing all that with an offensive line dealing with some injuries, missing 4 starters, and no real number 1 target at the moment, though Tank Dell could take over that mantle. He had 5 receptions for 145 yards and a score. The definition of a true franchise quarterback is someone who elevates the play of everyone around him, and Stroud has been doing that. The Texans might only have a 1-2 record to show for it, but they're a competitive team, and when you watch them play on the field, you can tell CJ Stroud is their guy. They rally behind this guy. They play for this guy. They believe in this guy. Jacksonville Jaguars. So on defense, they are struggling to generate pressure, and it raises an interesting question of if the Jaguars are ready. And after their performance on Sunday against the Texans, I think they don't look ready. Expectations for this team going into the season were for them to win the AFC South, which looked weak going into the season. Instead, they're 1-2 with 2 straight losses. Now looking up at the Colts, who were the only team from the South to win on Sunday. The biggest issue is a heavily invested defensive front not making any plays. Despite the Texans missing 4 starting offensive linemen, the Jaguars couldn't manage a single sack. That lack of production is highly problematic when the front 7 for the Jaguars features 4 first-round draft picks, including last year's number 1 overall selection, Trayvon Walker. So gotta learn to turn up the pressure on defense, especially against a team missing 4 guys on offense. But yeah, now AFC South, still a weak division, I would say, and very much now a free-for-all. I don't think it's Jacksonville's division. Chicago Bears, racing to disaster fire territory. So the Bears experienced an awful week going into this game, and it's only gotten worse after this game. So last Sunday the Bears lost to the Buccaneers. Justin Fields would come out with comments. At first it seemed like he was blaming the coaching staff, and then he kind of walked back those comments, but he certainly did talk about playing robotic and not just kind of being loose with the football. Talking about playing robotic. Defensive coordinator Alan Williams abruptly resigned. I guess that was due to some inappropriate conduct. Left tackle Braxton Jones was placed on injury reserve because of a neck issue. There was an equipment theft that occurred at Soldier Field. And going into this game, there was an opportunity. Well, there could have been an opportunity for the Bears to reset. I think the Bears were hoping for an opportunity to reset, except they were playing the Chiefs, who proceeded to clobber the Bears. Chicago looks like the league's worst team, although considering the Broncos lost 70-20, I think it's right now it's looking like the number one overall pick race is between the Bears and the Broncos. Fields didn't look robotic in this game. He looked broken. Fields completed 50% of his passes, threw for only 99 yards, and struggled to be as dynamic with the ball in his hands. It's not entirely his fault, though. His supporting cast does leave much to be desired outside of DJ Moore, as does Chicago's play calling. After an 0-3 start, attention starts to turn towards the future. Fields just hasn't developed as expected for a guy drafted in the first round. The current regime isn't tied to Fields since it didn't draft him. The Bears are one of the current front runners for the number one overall pick, and any team that does, and certainly any team that does have that number one overall pick is going to might be tempted to draft. Will be faced with the temptation of having Caleb Williams or Drake May available for your selection. So without significant progress during the next few weeks, the Bears might have to start considering their options and how they plan to build a roster now and beyond. Kansas City Chiefs. Coming out of this game, Rasheed Rice is a name to watch. So when the biggest story of an NFL game is a superstar singer being in attendance, the contest in of itself must have been a disappointment. There was a lot of buzz around Taylor Swift's appearance or attendance at the game, and the Chiefs' business-like approach during a 41-10 victory over the Bears, didn't generate as much buzz as Taylor Swift's appearance. After all, the Chiefs are the reigning Super Bowl champions with the best player in football behind center. Meanwhile, the Bears are the disaster. Kansas City should have dominated and taken care of business, and they did both those things. The little things become important in those instances. For the Chiefs, Travis Kelce continues to be Mahomes' favorite target. Meanwhile, rookie Rasheed Rice is working his way into becoming Mahomes' preferred option at wide receiver, where at the moment there's not a legitimate wide receiver one in this offense. And I don't think Rice is there just yet, but again, he's a name to watch. In two of Kansas City's 3 games, Rice tied or led the wideouts in targets. He finished the game against the Bears with 7, catching 5 of those for 59 yards. With that, we'll go ahead and wrap up this episode of NFL Discussion. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like button down below.